Hi guys, welcome back to the shack, and today we're going to be discussing CO2 lasers. More specifically, we're going to be discussing the entry level, as cheap as you can go and not regret your decision, CO2 lasers that are out there. There's some out there that are cheaper, but you may regret it. So if you want to learn more about what I think about the new Monport Reno 45 and its variations, then stick around and we're going to talk about it. All right, guys, so when Monport reached out to me to send me the machine, my experience with CO2s is somewhat limited. I've had 5 or 6 CO2 machines come through my shop or that I've been able to run and have experience with. So it was a little bit limited. To bring you back, my very first CO2 machine was a Monport M40, which is the K40 that everybody talks about. It's a real small, like 8x12 work area, bare bones, basic CO2 laser. And when I first got it, you know, not having a CO2, it opened up doors for me with acrylics and things like that that I couldn't do before. But the K40 series was very limiting, and it was a little frustrating at times. There were a lot of things that I had to do the machine to make it usable, and it was just a little cumbersome for a lot of people. Well, Monport has kind of taken the idea of basic bare bones machine and improved upon it. And they offered to send this machine out to me. I was a little hesitant because I was reflecting back to my days of the M40. But after spending a little time with the machine, running it for about a week, doing lots of projects on it, to the point to where I actually had to learn how to clear the memory because I filled the memory up from running so many jobs on it. I'm surprised. I am pleasantly surprised. So I'm going to move you over here. We're going to talk a little bit about the build of the machine, what comes with the machine, the price point, all that, and just kind of walk you through and show you the basic bones of what we're working with. So let's move over here. All right, so also some of you may be asking about my cart before this video is over with. This little plastic composite, whatever it's made out of, cart is one that I've used with other machines for a while, and it gives me the opportunity to be able to roll the machines around and just move things around in my shop. If you have a limited space like I do, you understand the importance of sometimes you need to be able to move things out of the way as simple as possible. And this little cart with these nice wheels on it, it's definitely a must-have for me. So as you can see, the machine is fairly compact. It's not all that terribly large. So if you're looking at getting one of these guys, you're going to need about, I'm going to say about 36 inches to kind of have yourself a little wiggle room. So you're looking at 36 inches is about there. That gives you enough room that you could reach in here if you needed to. It's a little tight. I would avoid getting that close. Maybe just plan on having at least 36 inches to sit it on, but maybe have some area to the sides. Now, front to back, including a place for your exhaust, you're looking at, to be on the safe side, I'm going to say at least 32 inches from the front of the machine, and that gives you a little room to be able to move that hose around or put an elbow on there or whatever you need to do on the back. As far as the height of the machine just sitting there is maybe 12 inches, but you're going to need some space over the top of it up to about 28 inches to be able to open the door. So it's not terribly big, but it is a bit bigger than the old K40s that we're all used to. Now, one other thing with this machine, unlike some of the desktop CO2s that you see, this machine does not come equipped with a chiller. Now, you can purchase this with or without a chiller, and you can purchase it with a different chiller than what the packages are. The one that I have is the CW5200. This one actually kind of acts as though one of those little water kegs that you have, like maybe at your business or at a store, to where it refrigerates and keeps the water cold. This one kind of works in that way as a refrigerator. Some of the more basic ones basically just circulate the water through a radiator and then use fans to use the ambient room temperature to kind of cool it down. So those are what I would refer to as more of a radiator than a chiller. This is actually a chiller. This will reduce the temperature of the water, you know, through using compressors and refrigerant and all that. So there are differences. So if you're picking out, if you're putting yourself together a package, just know that there are different versions of the chiller, so to speak. So this package right here, on their website right now, guys, $1,900 is what they've got it listed at for the machine, one of the radiator chillers, light burn license, and some marking spray, and I think they even throw in a roller. It's not a chuck, but it's a roller rotary for the machine. That's not a terrible deal. If you're really on a tight budget, you could do without some of those peripherals and just run like a bucket with some water in it as your chiller. It does come with the little pump, aquarium pump. Those are risky, especially in a shop environment, because that water's gonna get dirty and it's gonna pump that dirt through the machine. So anytime you can use a closed system, whether it be one of the radiators or this actual refrigerant chiller, I would do so. But anyway, that's some of the considerations that you need to have when looking at the machine. This machine is also not your standard Reno 45. This comes in several flavors. You've got the Reno 45, the Reno 45 Pro, and the Reno 45 Pro Vision, which is what I have. The only difference between this one and the Reno 45 Pro is this one has that little camera right there. Other than that, it's the same machine. The difference between the standard Reno and this one is the controller. So there are some upgrades as you go, but the basic bones of the machine, the frame, the mirrors, all that kind of stuff are going to be the same. It's going to be the electronics, and some of the additional capabilities are going to be the difference between the Reno 45, the Reno 45 Pro, and the Reno 45 Pro Vision. Now, this particular model has the Top Wisdom controller, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, I didn't know a lot about these controllers when I first started messing with the machine, but after running it for about a week, I have determined it's pretty cool. There's a couple of things that are a little quirky about it that you've got to get to understand, but other than that, so far it's doing a really good job. I like being able to just move the machine however I want to move it. I can move it slow. I can go back to moving it faster. It's very, very user-friendly and simple. And sometimes simple is what we want. So let's look a little closer at the construction and what goes into this machine. All right, so a little better look at my cart here, just some of my usual stuff. Monport did send me out some of this black metal laser spray. Haven't had a chance to use that yet. Plan on doing so. As you can see with the machine, the ports are on the side right here. You've got the camera has an individual cable from the machine. That's something that I wasn't crazy about because it does use up twice as many ports, but so far it's worked well, so I'm not gonna knock it. You do have the power on and off switch as well as an e-stop button here. E-stop probably should have been up top somewhere, but as long as you don't obstruct it too much, you can still get to it. But those are just little nitpicking things. The good news is the likelihood that you'll accidentally bump the emergency stop loading and unloading material is very, very low. As you can see, the back of the machine, it does have a power outlet for the chiller as well as the power inlet there. The way that this thing works, I do have the machine grounded to my chiller using a little piece of wire right there, but that is because this is only a 2-part plug and there was no earth ground in this plug, so I did that myself. 4-inch exhaust outlet, that's a good thing to have, and then over there on that side, of course, you can see the chiller inlet as well. And here is the back of the chiller. Nothing real fancy other than a couple of fans. The chiller can be a little louder than what it is currently when it's running, but currently it is it's just kind of sitting there idling. So as you can see, the machine is a pretty cool look. It does have a pass-through of sorts here on the front. You can take this little piece here and slide this out or in, allowing you to, take a piece of material and hang it out of the front of the machine. Now, as you can see, it does not go out the back, so you're going to be limited to where material can go. So you could stick a larger piece of material in the front, but you would have to like support it out here or whatever while it's in there. Now, the machine does not have a power Z-axis. This is your power Z-axis. At first, I was like, I don't like this. Now, I would have liked a knob better. That may be a 3D printing project, is have a little knob to where I can turn this a little, you know, a little easier. Just with a knob. You can turn it with this as well. If you have the hand strength. If you don't, you can use this. But I actually want me a bigger knob that I can just slide over that and turn. So the way that the focus works is you have to pull this little thing down right here, and that lets this foot set. And when you raise the bed, as the bed comes up, once it hits this to a certain point, magnets pull that plunger up, and you stop when it moves, and your focus is set. They also give you this little piece of acrylic that you can use to double check it. And I've been double checking it after using the plunger, and so far it's been consistent, so no complaints there. The one thing that I did have to remedy when I got the machine is the honeycomb. It's a pretty decent honeycomb, nice and sturdy. The way that I've got mine set in there is sitting on top of the blades. Now, you can take those blades, whew, yes, just messy, guys. I've been running this thing, and I did not clean it before the video because I want you guys to know I've been running it. So, I leave the blades in there. One, because that way I know where they are. Two, it helps support the center of this honeycomb, because if not, the center of the honeycomb will just kind of be hanging over into the abyss. So, I leave the blades in there. Well, when I first got the machine, and I'm going to try to do this one-handed. When I first got the machine, the honeycomb would sit in here, and you could kind of line it up with the blades like this, and it kept it somewhat still. But you know, I have a thing about wanting to be able to jig and do repeatable objects and all that. So this was not really acceptable. So what I ended up doing to create a solution to that is I drilled a hole through my honeycomb, and I added these screws with nuts on the back. And I drilled the hole, once I got the honeycomb where I wanted it, all the way into this little metal frame right here. And you can see I got those 2 index holes there. So when I set the honeycomb in there, all I've got to do is line up those 2 holes, and it sits down on the blades perfectly, and those 2 screws sit in those holes, and now you have to move the whole machine to move the honeycomb. So that was improvement number 1. And this would not be very hard for anybody to do, especially if Monport could, you know, come up with a real good solution. So that makes this machine a lot more easy to index materials in the corner of the honeycomb here. And that's kind of what I've done, is I've created myself, and I've been doing my cutting board jobs on this machine. So I've created myself this little jig panel here for my cutting boards, and you just set it in the honeycomb front and back. I put some painter's tape on there just to hold things in place, and then I can set my bamboo cutting board in the middle of this, and I've got a jig file created that automatically knows where these things are. As far as setting the focus, we'll go over that real quick. I'll show you. Pull the plunger down, and I'm just going to raise the bed with this little wrench, and you'll see, let me get you over here, get you real close. You'll see as this thing comes up, it's going to touch, the plunger is going to press against it, and you got to slow down right here. Let it just watch it, slow down, and as you raise it up, boom, there you go. Now, like I said, you do have this little tool to test it with, and if you look right there, there is the confirmation that our focus was set properly. So good to go. And I wasn't crazy about that in the beginning, but so far, guys, it has worked really, really well. All right, so the controller, like I said, you've got the basic commands for everything that you need to move the machine, navigate the machine around. You can also, using this, set the origin to execute jobs. It has a USB port here that you can actually save jobs to a thumb drive, and you don't even have to have a computer hooked to the machine to run them from here. That's pretty cool. It says that this will work on an app on your phone with the Top Wisdom app, but I'm not using that. I'm using Lightburn, and I'm exporting it over to the machine itself. And so far, the only issue that I've run into is I did fill up the memory on it, but I figured out if you go in and hit File, and then like these are the different ones that I've ran since I cleared the memory. When you go in here to these folders, you can hit Enter, open it up, and when you open it up, you'll see right here at the bottom, it says Delete All. That will delete every single file that is saved on the machine. So now if I hit File, there's no files there. That is the only way that I can find, because it wouldn't let me run a job because it said that it didn't have any room left on it. So I had to clear that out, and it took me a while. There's no videos out there on how to clear that, so I'm gonna bookmark that in this video in case somebody runs across it. Other than that, the machine does have a built-in fan right there. I'm running an exhaust fan in the back. I've got a 6-inch fan choked down the 4 that I've been having assist this fan, and it's been doing a really good job so far at keeping the smoke evacuated. The one thing that I think is kind of cool is they've kind of built the whole machine basically out of acrylic, so you can see like the inner workings of the machine. It's really neat to me. I kind of wish they'd put some lights in there. Like you can actually see the mirrors on this side. To clean or adjust, you just have to take this little panel here off. There's the tube around back, and when the machine is running, you can actually see the pink, laser light or whatever inside there, and the glow of the tube working. I did pull some stickers. There was another sticker here. I pulled it off. Like I said, I really like the look of this acrylics. So altogether, appearance-wise, functionality, the machine's been running really fast. I'll show y'all some video as well along the way of the machine actually operating. So let's get over here and talk about what we've done with it so far. All right, so one of the biggest reasons that a lot of people decide to get a CO2 is because of acrylics. Acrylics are a really cool medium for using lasers. There's a lot of projects that you can do as well as like clear acrylics and stuff like that. So I have been really heavy on the acrylic testing for this machine. As you can see, I cut a few pieces. So through my testing, I have determined, as you can see with my little cut test right there, you can see that no matter what the color, basically at 30 speed and 50% power, which should be right here in the middle somewhere, the machine is cutting through, whether it's clear or what, it's cutting through there. And these are all different colors of acrylics. So you can literally, no matter what the color is, you can cut acrylic with it. And that's one of the things that a lot of guys and gals decide they want a CO2 for, is because with the blue laser, this is not going to happen. Some of these colors, maybe the red, the orange, some of the greens, maybe with a blue laser, but for the most part, you're not going to do this. These different mirrored acrylics, like the mirrored acrylic right there, you're not doing that. You're not doing the clear acrylic. So this machine does afford you to be able to do the acrylics. Now, the one dig that I do have at this machine, and I want to go ahead and point that out before we go too much further. There is one thing that I plan on doing to this machine that I have not done yet, and that is I'm going to be replacing the air assist with either a more powerful pump or with shop air. Now, could you get by with the one that's in there? Yeah, you could. It is going to limit you in being able to do one pass cutting and stuff like that because of the risk of fire. But this is why I say that. This is the testing that I did in the first day or two with the machine. I'm getting really good results with it in engraving. The cuts, I'm having a little bit of an issue with some attempted fires with cutting. And that's because I'm trying to go with enough power to make it through the cut with less rotations, but the air assist is not keeping up with the power. All right, and just to prove to you guys that I'm not just digging on Monport's air assist, although they have a track record of their air assist pumps being a little underwhelming. I did a test with this material. This is some 3mm MDF. This is true flat material. It's just got this black coating that makes it, makes it kind of look like plastic, but it's not. It's an MDF-ish material. And so I cut the material both using the factory installed air assist, as well as I did a little bit of engineering and running hoses through the cabinet of the machine. And I used this, I don't know, made in China air assist pump that I've had for a while. This is just a regular 120, plugs in the walls, got a switch air assist pump. And I literally ran this hose through one of the holes in the side of the machine and plugged it into the gantry and used this air assist and unplugged the factory one in this test. So what I want to do now, before we go any further, is just show you the difference between the two air assists. So of all of the testing that I have done with this machine so far, that is the only complaint that I have at this time with the machine, is the air assist is a little underpowered. And I plan to fix that because I think that's an easy fix for me. You can go watch my buddy Steve over at Vintage Workshop. He has a video where he did the same thing to his Reno 45 as well. It's an easy fix, and once I get that fixed, guys, this machine is going to be a formidable 45 watt CO2 machine. I have no discrepancies about that. This machine, if they had put a little more powered air assist pump on it, would have been awesome. It's good like it is, but it would have been awesome with that. So other than the two things that I've had to do so far is fix the honeycomb to where it doesn't move around, because I like using a honeycomb better than the blades. And yeah, I know you can use the blades too. And I've got it to where I can lift my honeycomb off and use the blades. But I like using jigs. I like indexing materials. So the honeycomb was a must that it stayed still for me. So I've got that fixed. Once I get the air assist thing fixed, I'm golden. I have considered putting some more lights in there to eliminate the rest of the machine, but we'll see. So as far as the materials and the performance of the machine, guys, I'm going to be honest with this machine. I'm getting some of the best results that you could ask for at some of these. This is Mylar. So if you make stencils, like, Christmas is right around the corner. If you wanted to like get some of that, canned snow from the Dollar General and put it on your windows, there you go. There's your stencil for that. Or if you just wanted to cut some Mylar little Christmas ornaments and hang them on your tree or whatever in the shape of a snowflake, you could do that. So there's those. Also, ornaments being a big thing, I decided why not? I'd make a couple of clear acrylic ornaments, and the machine performed awesomely on this clear acrylic. I will say the results on this acrylic, the uniformity of the burn, the frostedness that I got of the burn, it done a really good job. And that is with very minimal adjustment to the beam path. I will say when I first got the machine, I did have to make a slight adjustment to the second mirror, because the gantry, as you slid the gantry further away from the left side of the machine, there was a little bit of a variation. It was working, but I felt as though maybe, it wasn't perfect. So I checked it and it wasn't perfect, and my OCD kicked in. And so I had to do an alignment to get it to where it was perfectly centered all through the workspace. The machine was functioning straight out of the crate, not a problem, but my OCD made me do it. So, but yeah, these things turned out awesome. Brandy has already said she's going to be stealing these from me to put on the Christmas tree. So just in time for Christmas, I've got that. Some of the other materials that I tried, of course, is some Lone Star / Romark, one of the same material. Did some cutting on it. I didn't wasted a lot of time doing the engraving, because I have found that with this stuff, a lot of times the blue galvos do a really good job of engraving this stuff, or you can use the UVs. Keeps from melting as bad. But you can do it. I just didn't do a lot of testing with it. It will cut it. I did test that for you guys. So if you're into using Romark or Lone Star adhesive materials, there you go. Now, this is one of these materials right here that requires a really good working air assist, which we didn't have, but I tried it anyway. And that's leather. All right, so I had some limited results with, this is real leather. I had some limited results. I got a little extra charring. It was a little flamey at times. So I'm going to try this again once I upgrade the air assist. But if you're into doing things with real leather, if you're wanting to be able to cut out like little pieces of material that would fit in the 12x16 work area of this machine, then you can do so. So those are some of the things that I felt like people might actually want to be doing. Of course, the Mylar that we talked about earlier, this stuff cuts like butter. You can go way faster than what I had been playing around with. And of course, the old trusty wood. I did test on some wood. The results were very similar to what I would expect to get from any CO2 machine from 40 to 60 watts. I mean, you're going to be right in that area. The beam size, the dot size on this machine actually has surprised me, how small it is and how well it does on photos. This is a photo that I took using my little remote of my family, and it did a really good job. Now, this material is literally just some birch plywood that I use for structural stuff and some of my other stuff. So there's some imperfections and there's some heavy grain in this material. So I decided to lose the grain. I don't use MDF a whole lot, but it is a really good medium for doing photos. And so I did the photo on some MDF, and you can see I got really good detail all the way down to, you can see Callie slipping behind us right there. But yeah, I got some good detail on the MDF. It turned out really nice. I think I'm going to make this into something to decorate Brandy's new office with. So we'll see how that goes. But all in all, the machine, guys, is performing really, really well. Like I said, as long as you're good with a 16 by 12 work area and you're only wanting to do some modest cutting up, 1/4 inch down to 3 millimeter material, it seems to do really well. If you try to go thicker than the 1/4 inch material, you're going to get some mixed results. If you're using just a solid wood with no glue, no pocket filler, nothing in it, you could probably go up to a 1/2 inch, like say with some poplar or magnolia or something. Some of the easier to cut woods, basswood for example. But me personally, I would stay 1/4 inch and thinner with this machine in its current configuration, because it does have only one lens, and so the focal point is kind of fixed. You can't do a whole lot with that unless you really want to do some manipulation down there. But I've had really good luck with it. I like the machine so far. I am really impressed with the functionality of the machine. And I know, guys, there's a lot of these desktop machines, they do have certain advantages. They're more contained. It's just one unit. You don't have the separate chiller. So if you don't have room for a chiller, maybe that's a deal breaker for you. Some of the other machines have smart features, which I'm not a fan of. I like basic. I like simple. I want to be able to just engrave flat materials that I target either by jigs or just by sending the job over and framing. I don't need the machine to determine how to position anything. I need basic. That's all I want. And I do like the fact that it is basic. The software that I've used is Lightburn, and it works great. You're going to send the file over to the machine. You can home the machine and do movements and commands with it, but I have found that I like the workflow better if sending the file to the machine I've gotten to where I do a lot more from origin with this machine because it's just so easy to manipulate it into position and send the job. So, you know, that's kind of a user preference. If you're used to using this machine or one similar to it, let me know what you think. Do you like absolute coordinates better for a machine like a DSP or a Top Wisdom controller? Do you like absolute coordinates better? Or do you prefer to come over and use the controller itself and do it by user origin? Let me know. Because so far, user origin seems to be my go-to for this machine. And that may be because it's so far from my computer as well. But there you go, guys. That's where I'm at on the machine so far. I plan to do a few projects with it for sure. I'm in no rush to get rid of the machine. It's doing a great job. It's actually been an asset in here this week. I have got it set up to pipe out the back of the building using the exhaust that I typically use for the galvos. And so it's just going to stay right there. And I'm going to use it on some jobs and keep using it, playing with it. I will be upgrading the air assist soon. To try to see what I can do with that. But if you're interested in the machine, like I said, guys, this is very similar to the one that Steve has. The different models are at the bones basically the same machine. And you can see the video of how Steve modified his air assist to better suit his needs with the machine. And like I said, if you're just going to be doing primarily engraving, this air assist works fine. My thought is that maybe what I'll do is add an air assist for cutting. That way I have continual air that's built in to keep the lens clean, but then I have higher velocity air for cutting that will kick on when the machine's cutting. I think if I do that, this thing's gonna be awesome. So that's what's coming. So if you haven't already, guys, hit the buttons, stay tuned, come back to see us. More videos to come with this machine and lots of other great machines. So until next time, be safe. Have a good day.